Primetime football games haven't exactly been must-watch TV for NFL fans this season, and with the Ravens and Steelers set for Sunday night and the Patriots and Dolphins set for Monday night, at least we've got a real game on Thursday Night Football between the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons to start Week 14 of NFL action. The Falcons opened a 2-point favorite, but the NFC South-leading Saints have been the preferred side early in the week. The Saints hit Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the first time, and they'll do so in first place. These teams will play twice in 17 days, with the next meeting coming on Christmas Eve in New Orleans. New Orleans is 9-3 straight up and also 8-4 against the spread. This is a Saints team that started 0-2 straight up and against the spread. Their only straight up loss in the last 6 games came on the road against the Rams 2 weeks ago in a 26-20 loss. The development of a running game has been the key to the season for the Saints. It has helped aging quarterback Drew Brees stay sharp and has really helped the Saints defense. New Orleans leads the NFL in yards per play with 6.4 and also leads the league in yards per carry with 5.0. New Orleans also leads the league in completion percentage at 71.5%. It is amazing what offensive balance can do. Brees has been the quarterback for all 407 pass attempts and has completed 297 of them for 3,298 yards with a 17-5 touchdown interception ratio. Mark Ingram had 5.1 yards per carry and 9 runs of 20 or more yards. Alvin Kamara has 7 yards per carry and 5 explosive runs. That duo has 16 rushing touchdowns. Michael Thomas has morphed into the next great NFC South receiver with 75 catches for 875 yards with 3 touchdowns. The Saints have scored 36 offensive touchdowns this season and are third in the NFL in points. This offense has no holes because everything has worked in unison. Drew Brees hasn't thrown fewer than 600 passes since 2009. He's on pace for less than 560 this season, which would be a huge help for the playoffs as the 38-year-old prepares for another postseason. The Saints' defense doesn't necessarily stand out with 5.4 yards per play allowed, but given what we've seen in past seasons, that represents an enormous adjustment. The health of Marshawn Lattimore is a big deal going forward, and he is questionable on a short week after missing last week's game. That is where the Saints have improved dramatically. The secondary rates a little better than average with 5.7 adjusted net yards per pass attempt, and has kept the opposition to just a 61.1% completion rate. Youngsters like Lattimore, Kenny Vaccaro, and Von Bell have transformed this defense. A.J. Klein gave the Saints the defensive captain that they had been lacking. All you need is an average defense with an offense like this, and this defense has been every bit of that and then some. The Atlanta Falcons had a modest 3-game straight up and against the spread streak snapped to fall to 7-5 straight up and 5-7 against the spread. The Falcons are just 3-3 straight up and against the spread at home this season. The Falcons are a really hard team to peg. The offense is still north of 6 yards per play, but there simply doesn't seem to be much continuity or rhythm. Matt Ryan hasn't appeared comfortable with new offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. After a career year last season with a 38-7 touchdown interception ratio and a 69.9% completion rate, Ryan has a 16-8 touchdown interception ratio with a 66.7% completion rate. He has his lowest yards per game mark since 2010. The Falcons have relied on the run more under Sarkisian and have had some success with 4.4 yards per carry, but this just does not feel like the same group. Julio Jones has another 1,000-yard season, but has only hauled in 68 of his 107 targets. Last year, he caught 83 of 129 in 14 games, and the year before, he caught 136 of 203. The Atlanta defense is just inside the top 10 in yards per play allowed, tied with Tennessee for 8th. Marquand Manuel has done a pretty decent job with this group, and the presence of Dan Quinn doesn't hurt. As good as the base defense has played, however, the Falcons have only forced 10 turnovers. Only the Raiders have fewer takeaways. That puts a lot of pressure on the defense to hold strong throughout the game, and also on the offense to complete drives on long fields. The Falcons only have 3 interceptions all season, and they seem unlikely to force many turnovers this week against the Saints. This is truly a coin flip game. The Falcons get a little bit of a bump for home field, especially on a short week, so we saw the Falcons open as a home favorite. The line movement on the Saints is correct in that they are a road favorite without question. The quick turnaround and the short travel time may be a little bit detrimental for the Saints here. Both teams are pretty similar from a per-play standpoint, but the Saints have been a more efficient team on offense. The Falcons have been more efficient on defense, and on a short week, we'll go with the slightly better defense. Our pick and prediction is for the Atlanta Falcons at -2.5. For our pick and prediction on this game and every other game this week, and a wealth of free stats and information, check out bangthebook.com.